on then, and let's focus on the metal space. Infra is the company on our radar. We're currently joined by Mr. Subhrakant Panda, the managing director of the company. Hi, Mr. Panda. Always good speaking to you, sir. We have a big budget coming up, and you're donning various hats nowadays. So I've heard your opinion in terms of what you expect for the industries. But let's focus on the company. The past quarter was a little bit of a softish quarter, actually. Your volume growth was solid, high teens coming in there, but it appears that realizations were under pressure. Now, just a rough number that I'm driving, it appears that the realizations per ton came down to around 95,000 rupees per ton from around 105,000 in the previous quarter. That's on a quarter-on-quarter basis. Could you clarify what went on? Was there such a sharp reduction in realizations? And what's the outlook given that China is reopened now? Mr. Panda, I think you're on mute.
Good morning, Nigel. Always a pleasure talking to you because I think you know almost as much about the business I do. And yes, I think you've got your facts right. But, it was definitely a very challenging quarter because realizations were fairly soft. And even though raw material prices corrected, but prices corrected as well. And our average realization during the quarter was around 93, a little more than 93,000. So that did affect margins substantially, and there were several reasons for that. As I said, I think the third quarter overall was quite soft because the zero COVID policy continued in China longer than one expected it to. And besides that, we also had to liquidate some tonnage in the spot market, which brought down our realizations. And as a result of that, the numbers are what they are. But having said that, what stood us in very good stead is of course, the fact that we are a fully integrated business and zero long-term debt on the books. And some of the one-time impact that we had in the immediate preceding quarter were not there. And therefore, we managed to...
Mr. Panda, could you give us a sense of the average expected realizations in the fourth quarter and what they were in the third quarter?
So, as I said, third quarter average realization was about 93,000. And going ahead, I think we're going to end the year on a high because with China opening up, there is substantial movement upwards in metal prices, and ferrochrome is no exception.
Okay.
So we are already, I think there's been quite a steady increase in prices in China, which are now around the 107 cents mark or so. So while January realizations were a little muted leading up to the Lunar New Year holidays, but February and March are going to be substantially higher. We are expecting realizations to cross about 110,000 rupees per ton. Like I said, somewhere between 105 to 110 cents. And costs have pretty much peaked out. And if you go back to our previous conversations, costs really were at their peak in Q2.
Yes.
Corrected in Q3, but prices corrected as well. But now we are again in a situation where costs are correcting a little bit more and prices are picking back up. And therefore, we will see a good end to the financial year. And the outlook for FY24 is quite good as well because as I said, China opening up is a very big positive. Everything, whether it's ferrochrome or even nickel, has moved up about 30% in the last month and a half. And not to mention a sharp increase in electricity tariffs in South Africa by about 18%. The winter tariffs will go up by 18% starting April. So that is going to provide a boost to realizations as well.
All right, Mr. Panda, and as per your commentary, China reopening in South Africa, the electricity rates are quite high as well. So you're expecting quarter four to be far better. Given that realizations are going to move up, what should the margin outlook be? I mean, in this quarter, it's around the 10% odd mark. And on an absolute number, the EBITDA number is around 60-70 crores. Where do you see that number headed? For quarter four, it's going to improve quite a bit. So what's the rough number on margins as well as on the absolute EBITDA number?
So EBITDA number for Q4, we expect it to be close to 100 crores. And depending on how spot prices play out, I think there is a possibility that we can go, touch the three-figure mark. And going ahead, we do expect EBITDA margins, which had come down to about 10%, to move back closer to the 18 to 20% mark, and that will add substantially to our profitability going ahead. And do keep in mind that I think Sorry, go ahead.
100 crores of EBITDA in the fourth quarter is what you're guiding for, and from the 10% mark, it may go to around 18 to 20% on a steady state. And this is a question that we ask you every time you join us, Mr. Panda. Earlier, it was when will you receive the money from the Utkalsi block? And now that you've received about 20 crore, how much more is pending? I believe about 350 crores is what you stand to receive from them. By when do you receive the remainder? What's the run rate there?
Okay. So the good news about Utkal Coal, as you correctly said, is that the first tranche of payments towards statutory expenses incurred by us has come in. So there is no longer any doubt about the process of reallocation of the coal block. We expect the valuation report for land and other things to be finalized in the next couple of months, and therefore Q1 of FY24 is when we expect the balance money to come in. And we do expect, like I said, I think on the books we have about close to 370 crores, and that's roughly what we expect to come in. So that will, of course, add substantially to our cash kitty and enable our expansion plans. Because keep in mind that FY24 is the year we kick off our expansion plans with about 150 crores budgeted for our to be spent during the year for our ferrochrome expansion project, as well as the underground mining expansion, which will take our output from the current 6 lakh tons to about 7.5, 8 lakh tons.
Okay, all right. Always good hearing your thoughts, Mr. Panda. Thanks so much for joining and giving us your view on IMFA and the outlook ahead. And we'll be chatting up with you, I think, in the next 48 hours or so to get your view on what the budget 2023 has to offer as well. Slip into a short break. Come back. We'll continue our focus on the markets.